Okay, let's jump into it. What are we at? 10:48 on Thursday the 23rd. So I'll start off with DXY because this is the bounce that we kind of knew was coming. I mean, all sort of coming through this patch down here. We said, look, this is a pretty high chance that we're going to get this like bang bounce up, even if it's just a bit of a liquidity grab. As I still believe to sort of come down a little bit further. I've still got the next price target as a completion of this bear flag move. The bounces has definitely come in, and you know what I mean. We're sort of seeing it come back up, retest. This zone that look, you know, we've got this marked out here, and as per the videos the other day, we're saying, look, this is a reasonable thing that it could come up this high. You know, so there's no sort of limit to sort of how high the bounce could come. As I said, look, you know, there is a possibility if we take this one and pop down over here or something, there's a possibility if it continued to go up and takes out these wicks from overnight, that we could see a push back up here. Because realistically, this is a pretty well-defined kind of channel. Yeah, it overshot it a little bit here, but you know, this is a pretty sort of decent sort of downtrend channel, and we haven't had a touch up at this top side for a bit here. But certainly the bounce was and USD strength coming in from a technical basis isn't anything of a surprise. It was sort of coming through this period, so I was trying to sort of trade through this wedge last night, and it was flying all over the place. Like it looked like it was lining up perfectly. You had a fake out to the top side and just smacked on the nose. Overshot, came down the bottom side here, and then obviously, what's this, from 12 o'clock, so sort of like US Open kind of time, it just really sort of took off. And that was, I think, sort of pushed on a little bit by some USD news. But again, it wasn't anything that was sort of like blow you out of the water. As far as I can see, unemployment claims was the main one. And I think the benefit in that is that, you know, the market sort of had 233 previously, but its expectation was 226,000, and it came in at 209,000. So obviously, sort of, you know, better than had seemingly been priced for. So yeah, that was sort of an interesting sort of move towards it all. But realistically, we can see coming back up here. I mean, this got what within a cent or something, cent of that area that we sort of marked out, and just bang, slapped on the nose. So no, I mean, this move isn't over yet. I'd say this wedge is definitely invalid. So if I wanted to sort of drag these out a little bit more, probably getting this. Um, let's see how this looks. You could say this could be a little bit of a channel, obviously, with an overshoot here. I'm not a big fan of this top line here just because it did cut through. But certainly this sort of rising support here could be something to sort of look out for, and sort of like if we're trying to sort of see if there's a sort of continual sell down, there'd be a little zone just through the middle here. And I think sort of this is the area you'd want to get underneath, to sort of see if it's sort of really sort of going to be sort of shooting back down towards these sort of price targets, basically towards previous lows. On a break of that, again, I just don't think, I think we've got some pretty heavy sort of support areas on the horizontals, which seem to line up pretty much with this price target, to sort of go down under here. So potentially one more sort of flush to the bottom side here. We could see some sort of continuation of this sort of channel potentially sort of coming out, and then a more extended bounce up to the top side here. So we've got US sort of Thanksgiving or something this weekend. We got a Japanese sort of bank holiday today. So I think, yeah, things are going to be a little bit either sort of, I mean, it's all very well to sort of say, yeah, it could do this or do that, but either we're going to have really low volumes and things are just going to grind out to the rest of the week, or we're going to have really low volumes, which is going to cause things to really sort of spike hard. So I know it's a bit of a, yeah, covering both bases, but you know, these are the kind of things you can sort of expect when you've got these big sort of disruptions to normal sort of trading, and sort of normal sort of, you know, the people that are moving the market not being at their desks, basically. So, as I said, look, this is a pretty much expected sort of move up to the top side here as a bounce. I mean, we're not taking out any sort of significant highs or anything so far. It obviously got slapped down, sort of coming into this close. This is a bit of a sort of rounded sort of close here, so it's not a complete sort of sell-off. So, you know what I mean? I think there's certainly a chance that this could have another attempt to the top side here to see if it can sort of continue this short-term upward momentum. I don't think this is realistically just going to go bang and then just drop back down here. But so if we can get through this sort of rising support that is sort of put in for this little bounce, and then below this was that 364 kind of area, call 360, yeah, call 360 just to be a bit easier with the round number. A move down underneath that would take out your swing lows, and then I think you could start to sort of think, okay, well, this little bounce has done its bit, and we sort of see a bit more of a pushback down here. And of course, if we see all these sort of things, again, this is what I say with this bounce, it wasn't anything too much of a shock, because if you look at a couple of other things coming into their areas, we got this is the yuan, so US US yuan, like the China, that was coming into support. It bounced up, so there's a reason for the market to be buying here, and these things work in sync a lot of the time. And this is what I say, it's sort of like, obviously yuan isn't part of the DXY, but it's not a coincidence that people are buying US dollar here and they're buying it against the other majors as well. If we flip onto Aussie, which Aussie chart shows it a bit better. Aussie coming into resistance, just clipped it, coming back down. And this is what I mean. It's sort of like there's always going to be a bit of a sort of what I call a cross-chart confluence with these things. So, it's not just necessarily like there's no one bit of news that really decided to drive it off here. There was a bit of news that sort of got it going. If I could just check, which I do believe was the Fed, the FOMC minutes, sort of sparked a little bit of a push off here. But as I said, look, it's nothing to be sort of too sort of shocked about so far. I don't think we're automatically just going to see people sort of change complete sentiment. You got to look at this thing again. If you go out on the bigger picture and we sort of look at how this has come down, I mean, this took, I think, what's this, sort of 3 months, July to October, to sort of go up, and that's a big move. And yes, we ground along the top side here for a bit, but look at how quickly we've come down. We've come down from November 1st to, in 3 weeks, and we're back down at the 50% retracement. Get this on out of the way for now. We're back at the 50% retracement. So, you know what I mean? It's come down very fast. There's a lot of people that would be sort of booking profits on these things. A lot of people sort of thinking, hey, look, you know what, this, 3 weeks ago, we were paying up here. Now I can buy for here. I think that's a pretty good chance. And they'll have a shot to buy it up here. And that's really sort of like where the market's going to have to sort of make a decision, whether they're sort of going to go, yep, cool, buy it up as much as you like, and bang, they'll sell it back down again. So, yeah, nothing to worry about, I think, in the short term. If anything, I think it just gives you a bit of a better price to sort of get involved with a few other bits and pieces. This is back onto the 4 hour now, and we're seeing, obviously, excuse me, coming into the end of the session, can't take too much of it. It was quite a sort of small sort of bodied candle here, so obviously low volume with it all, but, it's overbought here. It's tipping over. So as I said, I think a breakthrough this sort of rising support will be the first indicator that we may be seeing a bit of this sort of price action that we've sort of been basically planning out for. Flip across to Aussie. Aussie, so this isn't a major channel here, but this was what we sort of isolated yesterday, and we said, look, this is starting to look a little bit wedgy. Like you would have wanted these pushes here to really sort of come up and sort of basically justify this channel, if it were to be. But obviously it sort of came up here. These are 4 hour candles. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's effectively 20 hours worth of attempts to close over 65.70. Was unable to do. Well, people are going to start booking some profits. And this is obviously going in line with how DXY was moving. DXY has bounced quite up, and Aussie's been actually sort of super resilient. Basically, we've just got that pullback that we thought. So this is the area that we were looking for a breakout above. It's gone out. It's continued up. Now it's come for the breakout and so the retest. So this is what I'll say with this is that these ones. Let's get this out of the way for now. This is the crucial line here because this is your breakout candle. So we put this across here. that's where you sort of confirm your breakout, because you've got your breakout move, you've got your back test. Now the real sort of test now is if you can sort of continue this one up the top side here. So at the moment we've got the back test, and obviously market's gone, yep, that's great, we'll buy back up from that. Still got a little bit of room to go with the RSI. I mean, it obviously looked like it was about to cross for a second here, but sort of like bounces helped it sort of stay a little bit more on the positive, sort of bullish sort of side of stuff. But certainly you want to be able to sort of justify sort of staying out of this major sort of range that we had. I failed to sort of stay above these. Look, realistically, I'd say this lower candle here, so 65, I would say is that's your big range that you're going to be playing in. So, and I'd almost sort of call that a sort of confirmed breakout for the downside in that, even though I'm on the text on that. They're your sort of levels that you want to make sure you stay above. There is a chance as well with sort of Aussie that we sort of do see, you know, this kind of stuff happening and it just decide to range for a little bit through here. That's always a sort of possibility. But certainly if you want to sort of continue this upward momentum, which has been obviously quite strong, you need to get above that sort of 65, 90 area for the time being, because realistically that's your breakout candle. Till you can sort of justify that and sort of see a higher high, basically, you're still in the area of maybe possibly ranging or even possibly sort of breaking back down under these levels here. But yeah, if we get onto a lower time frame, for now we can see that realistically it's coming into the end of US session, the sort of pre-Asia kind of sort of volume coming in. It just goes flat, this area here. So we can see, as we've got it marked out here, previous support, 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 support. It's even sort of come out here, a little bit of sort of resistance, and we're seeing it still, again, sort of act as resistance here. So you want to see it sort of push up above the sort of 65, full 65.50 as a clear sort of break, and hold above as well, because obviously yesterday this was the big push we had when the PBOC did their fixing, and we got that nice little pop, and then obviously afterwards, bang, smashed down and sort of came through here. So to sort of justify the sort of a bit more of this sort of upper range area, 65.50 and above, I think is a good sort of line to call it. To the downside here, I'm still not too keen to sort of get short on anything. As I said, I think once we're still above this sort of major range on the higher time frames, I think there's a good chance that we could continue to sort of see buyers step up, step up, step up each time. But for now, it's just a little bit flat, and we just have to sort of really wait for see sort of like, you know, US dollar on a broad sense, so basically DXY, so to get sold down a little bit. If we look at this a little bit as well, I get this is only the 1 hour time frame. We've got a little bit of a negative divergence coming through here as well. As you can see, you know, here's one low, and there's the next low, and these line up with this low, and then obviously a lower low. And this is the thing that I sort of say with these negative divergences. They're great reversals, but you know, you want to get them higher time frame, the better, of course, because you can see here that this negative divergence, it's made a new low on sort of basically more as less selling pressure, and bang, there's your pop, and it's gone from 21 up to 46. So there's a 25 point bounce off the lows with that. So I think that might sort of be done for now. Then this little sort of bounce here. So next thing is, as I said, getting up above that sort of 65.50 to sort of show that we're sort of still up in this sort of higher range, and we can keep looking for these sort of more intraday levels to sort of see if we can actually sort of justify a further breakout on the higher time frames. Gold got a little bit of a hammer back, so we've got the nice little measured move worked out. Caught the swing for a second effort up here, but unable to hold above those 2K zones. You can see how much it sort of really sort of consolidated and thought about it up here. But on a different chart, I think it was this little rising support here, and you know, it almost looks like it was trying for a bit of an ascending triangle through this area. But obviously, as soon as it gave up, little back test of the underside, and boom, straight back down. So again, it's not, I mean, the move is still intact in that. It's just that, you know, without sort of being able to sort of continue, you know, and particularly these are 1 hour candles, and, you know, 5 or 6 hours of trying to sort of push through this area with USD strength, you know, we saw that sort of push back down with gold. So, again, it looks like it's just bunching up around here. So potentially, I mean, RSI, this is only on the 1 hour, but looks like it could potentially sort of be building for another sort of run up to these lower levels. If we put that, it's going to act a bit of further resistance here. This will be a little bit of this is a little bit of resistance at the moment. But I think if you get back up above 95, another shot at that 2002 level, I think could be justified. Of course, you got to get up above that. We put a lower range down under here. But again, I'm not really looking to short gold. If anything, I'd just be looking to sort of pick up some sort of long positions from cheaper levels. You can sort of drag something. Not a big fan of this sort of rising. No, get rid of this one. Not a big fan of that one. But certainly these horizontals, good little levels to be watching at the moment. We can see it's trying to sort of push up. What are we, 11:04? So there's a new hour coming in. I think above 91.92, hold here first. We need to get above this sort of previous sort of support level. So this is at 95.96, and I think that's a pretty solid $6 move if we can get to the top side here. As I said, look, I don't think much of gold through Asia session. Occasionally we get these ripping moves. I think this was Asia yesterday. No, that was the other night. It was this one down here. This is Asia through here, and then sort of obviously continued through. But occasionally you get them, but generally I find about sort of $5 ranges. But yeah, certainly I'll be buying any sort of dips that come in gold. But if we can get above 96, then that might be worth a little bit of a pile on for a push up to 2002 tests back above this. Well, 2005 seems to really be the sort of resistance zone that we've got marked out here, because it tried for that second effort and popped into here 2006, but obviously not quite there yet. So even if we link these together, this will be, as I said, a bit of a confluence, because you got your horizontals here, you got your falling sort of resistance here. But yeah, a little bit of work to sort of get back up to there first. For now, potentially something like a triangle sort of could be playing out through here as well. If we can get a bit of a push, get a bit of a push up here, probably another rejection. Depends, it could come down here, could come back here, and then push through. But realistically, it's still moving vaguely in that sort of upward direction at the moment, and this is why I'm not looking for shorts. Quickly flip across, and copper clipped that top zone perfectly. Where we are, let's jump onto a slightly higher time frame here. We can see previous highs. This is why we had marked out. I think I had this on the daily actually. So yeah, the daily here. I mean, this you can see this is why we mark it out. Bang, 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 bang. We know sellers are here, and what happens? Bang, right there. We've got it marked out. That's where the sellers were. So it's come back down here. Interesting sort of area that it just held above, because these are the, if you jump onto the weekly, this lower zone that I've got marked out here is actually the weekly body candles. So you can see that it's obviously sort of had a bit of a reaction around here previously as a resistance, and now it sort of seems to be more acting on a daily as a short-term support. To sort of think what we could do from this here, I mean, we're pushing a little bit, RSI is starting to roll a little bit through here. Would want to stay above this sort of rising support just in the short term to sort of see if we can actually sort of, get rid of this channel and take off to the top side. Not a big fan of that necessarily. I think possibly it might be a little bit more cooling given the RSI is so overbought and also it's pinching together. So I think we could be seeing a little bit more sort of downside with this, particularly if we see sort of US dollar continue to sort of attempt to strengthen through this period. I think again, once we see US dollar sell off, I think we're going to see another push. Another push on copper to the top side here. And finally, just sort of push onto China. As I briefly touched on before, flew through that first price target, and this is where we're expecting a stronger reaction. Again, these sort of lines that I draw, they're not sort of timelines. They're more, as I said, price levels. But you can see here very clear. Bang, this is why we had this area marked out. Buyers were here previously. We knew they would be. It's around the 38. Have stepped back in and have pushed it up for almost a slightly engulfing day through there. So, and I mean, it's not, and this is what I say, sort of like, this USD buying isn't like a sort of, oh, wow, where did this come from? I mean, the indicators are there on enough of the charts. So, if anything, it's just people booking profits because price targets, I'm not the only one that has a price target here necessarily. We've seen the buyers have sort of been here previously. Again, for the this range up the top here was 3 months. So for the last 3 months, people have been having to buy it up here, buy it up here. All of a sudden now you can buy it. We measured this is 3% cheaper. You know, of course people are going to go, wow, well, 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago almost with this one here. I mean, if we went back, sort of, start of the month, I was sort of paying 728. Now I can buy it for 716. Of course, people are going to see value in that and think that, okay, yeah, I could buy it and give it a shot from here. The point is, you want to see it go up, and you want to see the people that have been driving this down go, yeah, I've sold it here. Now I've got a chance to sell it here. I don't want to wait for it to go up here because it might not, and other people might sell it first. So they'll sort of hammer it, and then that's what will give you this next sort of drive back down here. But certainly underneath this 712 zone is sort of like where you want to see the next leg confirmed for China. All right, that's about it from me.